Hi guys, welcome to another episode of The Aspiring Entrepreneur. I'm your host Hamza Chowdhury, and today it's February 22nd. It is Monday, and in this daily stock recap, I just go over typical stocks that we cover on this channel. I didn't get a chance to put out our Sunday video. My editor had an emergency come up, so I really wanted to get this video out much sooner for Monday. And I wanted to add Cciv to the stock list. It is something I wanted to get out, and I apologize for you guys who tuned into this channel and maybe were wondering what was going on with the update. So I do want to go over real quick some of the stocks that we cover. So it'll be Apple, Tesla, Palantir, and Cciv, Churchill. Major news, and again guys, I completely apologize because I wanted to get this out, and I'm just going to be doing this on my own for today. And so for Apple, the market, I think by now we all understand it clearly is showing a lot of weakness. We're seeing a lot of pullbacks. We're seeing that the S&P and the NASDAQ, the Dow is up today, the NASDAQ pulled back, the S&P pulled back. And so what we're seeing is definitely a lot of profit taking, right? So if you look at the S&P from the March crash, you can definitely see that the trend has been positive. And we know that these pullbacks, although they could hurt us in our long positions, we know that they're healthy pullbacks because it gives us a chance to flush out, get people to sell so that we can get new buyers in and start continuing to push up a stock. Because if people simply hold, right, there wouldn't be much of a market. So the market works when people are selling. And so today, guys, we're failing. We're failing on a lot of levels, and levels that we've identified as strong supports, and Apple was no different. And so you can see, this 127 level has been solid for us, a lot of support. We actually ran up and hit a resistance close to 130, which I mentioned on my last video on Friday would essentially be a resistance now that we haven't been able to close above it. And then you can just see that, when this flush happened, guys, I started, looking closer at this level, and I wanted to buy more and more calls, which is our typical play, right? So right here, when you see the RSI sold, you see a key level, which in this case, we were trading in the 125s. I mean, buying calls here and then essentially selling them on the rips, whether they're at a key level of support or if you're just happy with the 10, 20. In this case, this is about a 40-cent move. And then we just sold off again. Okay, so guys, when we've seen this before, we've seen tons of activity when the market feels heavy. You can see the volume was a lot heavier than Friday. And you can just see, though, it just couldn't hold. We could not hold. We got above our support, which is our strong support, and we failed that level, right? So this part is what worries me, is we can't just sell off and recover and hold. We sell off, we recover, and then we sell off again. And so you can see that the volume was about 25% heavier, right? And we know that there have been, various individuals, heavy hitters, what I call them, the big cats, that have come out and mentioned that I've sold Apple. And guys, this is such a solid, this is the best company to own. It's the valuation, right? It's a $2.1 trillion company. And so for people to sort of, discount it, it's unfortunate, but, I can just tell you guys that, this level here for resistance and this level here for support really, it didn't hold today. And so for now, what we're looking at is we're definitely in the oversold category here on the RSI. You can see we have negative momentum, and you can see that, we're trading more or less in about a $3 true range. And the fact that we're trading below the 50-day right here basically tells me, again, it's a bearish signal for Apple. And so, we can continue this downtrend, we can continue the sell-off. And so again, I mentioned, in several videos that I'm not much of an investor. I am really a day trader. So I do try to flatten my positions. But of course, once in a while you do have to bag hold if you're on the wrong side of a trade. And so that's no different for me, moving forward with some of these plays. And so for Apple, I just did some calls today, went very light. I think I did like 10 or 12 call contracts and I got out. But guys, I got to just be honest, I'm not really happy with the way the market's performing. I mentioned that the market's at all-time highs. A lot of these stocks that we trade on this channel aren't even close to all-time highs. I mean, at 127 to 145, it's an $18 difference. So you're at like a 15% discount of all-time highs, and you continue to sell off. And so let's see, we have a lot of consolidation in the mid 120s, and let's see if we can hold the 125 level would be the next level I would expect. And so we're going to continue to follow that. I mean, Tesla, before the earnings, I think you guys might have mentioned, if you do follow this channel, I mentioned that Tesla was going back to the 700s. And the reason why I felt like I was wrong was because after the earnings, this happened, and I mentioned we had a strong support at 775. And so I mentioned it was going back to 700, and I expected that the 50-day would come back with our really strong support here at 695. But what happened was, and what really is confusing me as just someone who follows the market, is we actually reversed. And we actually ended up going right back to all-time highs. And that's what was really odd, is usually you have a sell-off after the earnings, and essentially in here, we got right back up into a channel, and now we're selling off again. And for the first time today, guys, we traded below the 50-day. And I was looking back on my daily chart, you can see we haven't traded back in the 50 till the pre-S&P news back in November. Okay, so this tells you a lot about the market that we're in. Okay, and so the fact that we haven't traded below the 50 since the pre-S&P news, I mean, that says a lot about the market. And you can see here, this is definitely where I'll be adding shares. Okay, so I am doing a little bag holding on Tesla, and I've had several chances to get out of my trade. I really thought we were going to retest up in the first resistance level 835, which we didn't. And so I'm bag holding. So when I add, I want to be very careful where I add. So this is my go sort of heavy level of 695, which to me is an absolute steal for a stock that was trading at $900 and has a very bright future. Okay, so again, not happy about the performance, but the overall market is selling off. Overall tech is selling off. We know we had the negative momentum. I mean, you can see here, look at the RSI, guys. You know, we're trading here close to 40, and I look back and I was like, we haven't seen that happen in such a long time. You know, back here in March when we had the crash. So Tesla is being oversold. So it just tells us, right, we had this massive valuation. We're cooling off. And so it's just a chance to pick up some shares, and you know, it'll come back. Just the market's just feeling very heavy. You know, to go from 800 down on the next session, down almost 100 points is just insane. PLTR felt the same thing, pretty good about the stock. We mentioned the bottom. We called that out on the day of earnings to 25. We got a good rebound. And we held really strongly above our strong support here at 2750, which is our go heavy range. Now we've sold off, sort of, we're in the post market here, but you can see that we bounced off this level and we maintained it, trading below the fast moving SMA line. And again, you know, we got right up here to 3050. So I expect again today, you know, we're now trading, you know, sort of sideways, and we've made a good bounce off of the lower Bollinger Band, and now you can start to see that the bands are slowly coming together, and they're going to create a channel. And so, you know, the fact that we got a strong bounce, we have this resistance level here at $30.50, and so you can see that it acted as previous support right back here, and now it's acting as resistance. So, you know, I still have confidence in Palantir. If you're going long from 25, you can hold this back at least up into this range here at the 20-day, around $32, $33. But like I said, I'm still bullish on the stock, and it was just the whole market was selling off, and you know, we still did pretty good for most of the day before we ended up just, you know, sort of caving into the pressure. You can see that the volume, 183 million shares, guys, on a stock that trades 51. So there's a lot of interest in the stock, and we know Kathy and a lot of the big hitters have been buying up shares. So, you know, I would hold this, and I would definitely, you know, be selling at least in the low to mid 30s if I was long. And so I'm doing the same thing. I've been selling calls, sold the calls today, and they're just money. Okay, so when this thing rips, you sell the calls, and then you just buy them back, and you can keep recycling that as much as you want. Okay. And the last one, like I said, I apologize. I do take this very seriously. Is I wanted to alert you guys that this was a, you know, buy, you know, what is it? Buy the hype, sell the news play. I actually had it included for Sunday's video, and this is exactly what I wanted right now. So I actually got in early. So let me just be honest with what I was doing. I got in. Guess what? I got involved. Started getting involved here, and we talked about you gotta watch out pre-market. This thing can start to run. Right, and you got to look at the time, and if you're getting involved right here, which is 5:30, you still have an hour to the bell. They can continue to squeeze you, and once you start to see the double top, which is right here at 64, right, and now you start to see the resistance is clearly here, and then started to sell off. So I kind of knew what they were doing. They were clearly squeezing people out. I held my size. I mean, it's not the best risk management. Usually you shouldn't risk more than 1 for 1. But in this case, I just added a little bit more, and I ended up, you know, came right back to where I expected it. Now, could I have held on longer and covered sooner? Of course, you can always argue that. And that's something I'm personally working on as part of my trading strategy, is you want to get more of the meat of the bone. So you could have sold here. You could have continued to add to the winner. Don't just add to losers. You can add to winners. And then simply you could have covered here. Okay, and this is a 15-minute chart, so it tells you the longer behavior of a stock. And the reason why I wanted to mention this on the channel this week, guys, is I knew that the news was coming out Tuesday. It ended up coming in after hours. And so I just happened to have my charts open. So what did I do? Right in here when we retested, right? So we have this high, we sold off, and then you want to see the retest, and we failed. This is where I started shorting. Now, do I wish I held my short from $60 all the way to 42? Heck yeah, right? But I didn't. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. You got to go with what you're comfortable with, and I was in the middle of a meeting actually, so I covered way too short. But guys, this was 20 points in an hour. So let me just be very frank with you guys. This is why we need to learn from each other. We need to work together, because imagine that, from people, whether you're buying here or way back here, you waited 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month for 5, 10, 15 points. Guys, knowing what kind of play this was setting up to be, knowing where this was at, you could have waited for this right here, knowing that once this news came out, once you saw what they were doing, right, they pushed this thing up even higher. The shorts were getting ready, and bam, you could have got that move. You didn't have to wait and days and weeks and seeing all the halts that they did on Friday and the games that their algos are playing. You just wait for that news to come out and you're ready. And like I said, I was expecting a Tuesday. It came out right after hours, and you would have just held a position here. Guys, this right here, just even 10 points. That's your trade for the week on 100, 200 shares, right? What's $1,000 a week for you in your life, right? It could be a life changer. So definitely I was a part of it. Didn't get most of me of the bone, just being perfectly honest. And I'm expecting right here. This is where I'm looking at. I'm looking at this level right here, 35, 36 bucks. That's where I'm looking at if I'm going to go in for a long. And I believe we got down to right here, 38. So I already had a plan going into what I saw. This was my plan, guys, coming right in this level, $35, $36, okay? Right there at the 20-day. And so, again, patience will pay off. Don't be that guy who's just buying and adding to a loser, not the winner, losers. Wait for that confirmation to come in. And so what you had here was probably what people thought was a confirmation, and then we just sold back off, right? So if you bought here, right, and then you didn't sell, your stop loss should have probably been at least break even, right? You should have at least did a break even loss if you didn't sell, okay? So anyways, guys, I sincerely apologize, like my third time, but I really take this stuff very seriously, and I thought this would just been a great play for the viewers, for anyone who would have seen this video. And so I hope some of you guys out there, if you did short the stock, please let me know. Again, guys, I live in the Bay Area. I've seen the motor store. I am a fan of what they're doing. I know they're ex-Tesla engineers. I know people who work at Lucid, and I believe in what they're doing. So I just want to be frank. I'm not saying that we should all tank the stock, and Lucid's gonna be a great company, and it's great to have competition so that companies like Tesla can't create this monopoly where we're just forced to buy Tesla cars, which are awesome cars as well. So I just want to be clear, guys, that I'm a fan of what this is and what this is doing, but what we're talking about is price action. What we're talking about is market manipulation. What we're talking about is being smarter than the heavy hitters to know what they're doing, understand what they're doing, and knowing how to play off what they're doing. We don't want to be the victims. We don't want to be the person in the casino. We want to be the casino, okay? So I just want to be clear that by no means am I trying to say that the stock should tank, because obviously I'm a big fan, and I think it has it's going to be a great stock in the long term. With that said, guys, I wish you the best of luck. Please add some comments how'd your trading went. It was a bloody day for most people, and fortunately I came up with a solid green day, but like I said, some of the longs I'm having to swing because of the market, like things like Tesla specifically and Palantir. All right, guys, with that said, wish you as well. And again, if you are back holding, don't forget to be selling those covered calls on a weekly basis. They are money, and they are free money, so back hold with money. All right, guys, take care. Bye-bye.